My son's teacher reported me to CPS over his family tree drawing. Now my life is falling apart. My hands shook so hard I fumbled with the deadbolt 3 times before managing to open it. The CPS investigator stood there with her badge asking about my son Rex. My stomach dropped as Rex peeked around the corner, clutching his dinosaur toy, asking who was at the door. The investigator's eyes locked onto him, and her pen started scratching across her notepad. 2 weeks earlier, Rex had bounced into the kitchen with his family tree homework. Mrs. Davidson wanted them to draw people who take care of them. Rex asked if Uncle Sebastian could go in the dad spot since his real dad never visited. I gripped my coffee mug until my knuckles went white, but forced to smile and explained Uncle Sebastian belonged in the uncle section. Rex looked down and said his friend Tommy has 2 dads on his tree. Why couldn't he? 3 days later, I found Rex drawing with his tongue out in concentration. My heart sank seeing what he'd made. Uncle Sebastian was huge in the center, holding both our hands, while his father was a tiny figure with question marks floating at the edge. I started to suggest changes, but seeing his proud face, I let it go. Rex mentioned Mrs. Davidson looked at his tree for a long time and wrote in her special notebook. At pickup, Mrs. Davidson approached wearing her apple brooch cardigan. She said she'd been teaching for over 20 years, so she knew children said things through art. I explained my brother helped 3 days a week while I worked night shifts as an ER nurse. She just nodded her head like she'd decided something. She reminded me teachers are mandated reporters. That night, while Rex splashed in the bath asking if Uncle Sebastian was in trouble, I got her email. Concerns about emotional boundaries with articles on enmeshment and inappropriate family dynamics. She'd CC'd the principal and counselor. Her 11 p.m. response to my polite explanation said she'd documented my defensive response. The principal called during my shift while treating a car accident victim. CPS would visit within 72 hours. My supervisor immediately suggested I switch to day shifts. There went my night differential pay of $600 monthly. I cleaned frantically for 2 days, making Rex anxious. The investigator arrived while Sebastian helped with homework. She photographed Sebastian's hand on Rex's shoulder during math help. Later on, when Rex ran to hug Sebastian, her pen flew across the page. Sebastian was told to leave for fingerprinting and drug testing. Within days, our life crumbled. Canceled playdates with stomach bug excuses. Rex not picked for reading partners. Birthday invitations withdrawn. The office went silent when I entered. Rex asked why everyone kept asking if I'm okay. I found his Father's Day card for Uncle Sebastian torn up in his backpack. Lauren, a mom friend of mine, whispered at pickup that Davidson was telling everyone we were under investigation. CPS said 6 to 8 weeks minimum. The lawyer wanted $5,000 to start and probably $20,000 total. But legal aid had a 3-month waitlist. Sebastian's girlfriend left him, worried about her image dating someone involved in a scandal. Through Lauren, I met Trinity, who told me Davidson reported her for working doubles. $30,000 to fight it and still lost. She explained that Davidson did this whenever she didn't agree with how a child was being cared for. Davidson documents everything from months before reporting. There were at least 4 other single moms targeted. My FERPA request took 30 days. Within a month, Rex was in therapy for bedwetting and nightmares about notebooks. Sebastian still came when I needed him, but was broken. His boss said background checks affected contracts. Visits dropped to weekly. Rex asked, is Uncle Sebastian mad at me? His 7th birthday had 3 guests of 20 invited. 1 parent stayed only to observe everything. I sold my grandmother's emerald ring trying to choose between therapy and groceries. The investigator admitted off record she saw no issues, but her supervisor wanted thoroughness. Rex came home with bruised knees. Kids said Uncle Sebastian was bad, so he pushed Tommy. Now there was a violence incident on record. Davidson emailed about aggressive behavior concerns. Then finally, a meeting was scheduled to close the case. I bought Rex art supplies to celebrate. He wouldn't touch them, asking, what if I draw wrong again? That night he asked, are they going to take me away? And I promised never, all while dying inside. The next morning, I walked into the CPS office expecting vindication, clutching the folder of character references and Rex's improved therapy reports. The supervisor sat across from me with that same practiced sympathy I'd seen for months. We're closing the investigation, she said, sliding papers across the desk. Relief flooded through me until I saw her expression. However, we received new information yesterday that requires a separate investigation. My blood turned to ice as she opened a fresh file. Rex's father contacted us. He's filing for emergency custody, claiming you've been alienating him from his son, and that the investigation proves you're an unfit mother. Full story on channel, linked below.